Good afternoon, everyone.
I am Norhaya Pagaduan.
And I am Christian Ramos.
And we are the hosts for today.
And welcome to Bagong Umaga.
May bagong kwento,
May bagong impormasyon, karunungan ang inyong matutunghayan sa aming programa.
So partner, kamusta ka naman today?
I'm not okay, partner. You know why? Nalulungkot lang naman ako, partner, sa mga nangyayari ngayon.
Why partner?
You know, nowadays, sobrang talamak ang balita about different issues and crisis na kinakaharap ng marami sa ating mga Filipino. Talagang walang pinipilang edad. Makabata man o matanda, lumalaban na sa crisis.
You're right partner, marami na rin ako nababalitaan about it. Different crises such as depression, losing family members, suicide, and even murder.
And you know what, partner? There are a lot of our countrymen na hindi kinakayanan ang mga ganitong trahedya sa buhay nila. Kaya talaga man nakakalungkot lang isipin.
Kaya dapat talaga partner, merong knowledge ang bawat isa sa atin on how to handle those, right?
Tama ka dyan, partner. It would save life if all us had the knowledge about handling different crises, if in case na dumating man sa buhay natin yon. Pero matanong ko lang, partner, do you have any insight about the word crisis?
Oo naman partner. As far as I remember in ancient Greece, yung word na crisis came from two root words. Yung isa is decision and the second one is turning point. But in Chinese language, those two words represent danger and opportunity. How about you, partner?
You're right, partner. In addition ko lang, based on the definition you have mentioned, according to Robert 2000, those definitions imply that crisis can both a time for growth and impetus for change, as well as the obstacle and risk harm and healthy reaction.
Wow, partner! Hindi naman tayo mukhang prepared today.
Alam mo, partner, iba naman talagang may alam. But of course, we still need professional to teach us the deepest meaning of our topic for today, which is the crisis.
So today, partner, balita ko kakaiba mga guests natin ngayon na. Am I right?
Of course, yes, partner. Because today, hindi lang basta-bastang tao ang guest natin. Sila ay galing sa napakagandang profesyon. Ang role nila sa mundong ito ay talaga namang di matutumbasan ng iba dahil sa kanilang angking galing, talino at tiyaga sa paglilingkod sa lahat ng nangangailangan.
Wow, partner! I'm excited to meet those professional guests and of course, to gain a lot of knowledge to them.
Ako din, partner. So wag na natin patagalin pa. Let's welcome our guest for today. No other than the group of social workers.
Our hero in this time of crisis.
Good afternoon, ma'am and sir.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you. But before we start, would you please introduce yourselves, ma'am and sir?
Good afternoon, I'm Lea May Villena.
Good afternoon everyone, I am Ednalyn Abeloria.
Magandang hapon, my name is Gerson Gusar.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. I am Elalyn Tagumpay. We've been social worker for almost 7 years and it's our pleasure to be here, of course, para makahatid kaalaman sa lahat na nakikinig sa atin ngayong araw.
Partner, kagaya ng sabi ko sa'yo kanina, diba, hindi basta-basta ang mga guests natin for today.
Kaya nga partner, hindi pa tayo nag-uumpisa pero ramdam ko na agad na magagaling itong mga guests natin.
You're right. So the four of you are social worker working with the groups for almost 7 years?
Yes!
We are glad today dahil pinaunlakan po ninyo ang aming imbitasyon upang maghatid ng kaalaman sa amin, pati na rin po sa lahat ng mga tagapakinig natin.
And again, welcome po sa ating show. At bago po tayo mag-umpisa, kakamustahin na po muna namin kayo. Alam naman natin na sobrang busy ng roles ng mga social worker natin ngayon.
So, kamusta naman po kayo ngayon?
Honestly, we look okay outside kasi nasa rules namin yun. To look strong in order for us to help our client, but if inside, we are not okay. Because as a social worker, soft-hearted kami. Lalo na yung mga nagiging client namin, talagang nakakadurog puso ang pinagdadaanan, but of course, we need to set aside our feelings para makatulong kami ng maayos.
So how's the feeling? I mean, can you share to us what are your experiences?
To be a social worker is a both an honor and privilege. As a social worker, walang madali sa amin We meet a lot of people, of course, with different backgrounds. And we aren't like giving help in just one click kahit gustuhin man namin, Kasi it takes a lot of process in order for us to help our clients better. Siyempre, kailangan namin alamin ang background nila, thereby psychosocial, family history, and the environment they are living and so on.
Wow, ang lalim pala ng profesyon ng social work. Tanungin muna natin ang ating registered social worker ng ating bayan, at nagbigay ng oras upang ating makausap at makapagbigay ng knowledge and information sa ating mga loyal viewers sa ating programa. Ano kaya ang ibig sabihin ng crisis intervention? Ito ba ay crisis intervention na naranasan o may mas malalim na ibig sabihin nito?
And we are asking if you can give us an insight about crisis.
Of course we can. In this time of crisis, we as a social worker, we have this way to help those who experience crisis. In that way is called crisis intervention. So, for your information, we would like to discuss or share first crisis intervention.
Crisis intervention is one of the essential practice models for competent direct social work practice. The crisis intervention model holds that individuals will experience stressful events and crisis as a natural part of the one's life development. Using systems theory, stress is revoked when disequilibrium and anxiety occur because of the crisis or traumatic event, and when the individual's coping skills and resources do not adequately resolve the immediate crisis reactions and consequences. Crisis intervention is one of the action-oriented models that is present focused with the targets for intervention being specific to the hazardous event, situation, or problem that precipitated the state of crisis. Therefore, this model focuses on problems in the here and now and addresses history and psychopathology only as they are relevant to any current condition of the crisis.
Another characteristic of crisis intervention models is the use of tasks as a primary change effort. Concrete, basic needs services such as emergency, safety, medical needs, foods, clothing, and shelters are the first priority in crisis intervention. Mobilizing needed resources may require more direct activity by the social worker in advocating, networking, and brokering for client who may not have the knowledge, skills, or capacity to follow through with referral and collateral contacts during the time of active crisis.
Very helpful naman po ng crisis intervention na yan.
Yes, and actually we have the level of crisis.
Somatic distress. This level of crisis results from biomedical causes and least severe psychiatric symptoms that cause stress and disequilibrium in the individual's life. Somatic symptoms disorder is diagnosed when a person has a significant focus on physical symptoms such as pain, weakness, or shortness of breath to a level that results in major distress or problem functionings. The individual has excessive thoughts, feeling, and behaviors relating to the physical symptoms. Level 2. Transitional stress crisis. This involves stressful events that are unexpected part of lifespan development. For example, excitement and anticipation may result from newly acquired rules and responsibilities, while unwanted rules may trigger feelings of pressure and defensiveness. Rules that had to be given up bring forth sadness and a sense of loss. Level 3. Traumatic stress crisis. These situations are unexpected and outside the individual's locus of control. This crisis can be life-threatening and overwhelming. And also, traumatic stress can cause you to experience all kinds of difficult and surprising emotions, including shock, anger, and guilt. These emotions are normal reaction to loss of safety and security, as well as life, and property that comes in the wake of a disaster.
The fourth level of crisis, family crisis. This relates to the developmental tasks and issues associated with the interpersonal and family relationship that are unresolved and harmful psychologically, emotionally, and physically to those involved. A family crisis occurs when a family has to change. Some examples of family crises are child abuse investigation, spouse abuse, and unplanned pregnancy, parents' desertion, and chronically ill family member. Level 5. Serious mental illness. This stems from a pre-existing psychopathology such as schizophrenia, dementia, or major depression that can cause severe difficulties in adaptation for both the affected individual and the family support system. Also includes disorders such as bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, schizophrenia, and schizoaffective disorder. 6. Level of crisis. Psychiatric emergencies. These are situations in which general functioning has been severely impaired, such as the acute onset of the major mental illness, drug overdose, or suicidal attempts. Emergency psychiatry is the clinical application of psychiatry in emergency settings. Suicidality is when a person has survived a suicide attempt, was prevented from making a suicide attempt, or has active suicidal thought, intent, and plans. And the last level of crisis is catastrophic crisis. This level involves 2 or more level 1, 2, 3 a traumatic crisis in combination with level 4, 5, or 6 stressors. The nature, duration, and intensity of this stressful crisis situation and events and personal losses can be extremely difficult to accept and resolve. An example of this level of crisis is losing all family members in suicidal, murder, or disaster.
It seems like nakapanindig balahibo ang level of crisis. Dito talaga natin malalaman kung anong level na tayo sa kinakaharap nating crisis.
Stage of crisis. The stage of crisis are similar to the grief process and the most to include the following stage. So we have an outcry. So it is a reaction of strong disapproval and anger shown by the public or media about the recent event. And also, we have denial or intrusiveness. So outcry can lead to denial, which blocking of the impacts of the crisis through emotional numbing and cognitive dissociation. So outcry can also lead to intrusiveness, which include the involuntary flooding of thoughts and feelings about the crisis event or trauma. And the other one is working through. This stage is recovery or healing process in which the thoughts, feelings, and image of the crisis are expressed, acknowledged, and reprocessed through adapted, healthy coping skills and strategies. So the last one is completion or resolution. The individual's recovery leads to the integration of crisis event, reorganization of his her life, and adaptation and resolution of the trauma in positive meanings of growth, changes, or service to other in crisis.
And lastly, we would also like to share with you the 7 stages of crisis. First stage is follow-up. Crisis workers should plan for a follow-up contact with the client after the initial intervention to ensure that the crisis is on its way to being resolved and to evaluate the post-crisis status of the client. Second stage is implement an action plan. It's a way to make sure your client vision is made concrete. It describes the way your group will use its strategies to meet objectives. An action plan consists of a number of action steps or changes to be true about in your client. Third stage, deal with feelings and emotions. The crisis worker strives to allow the client to express feelings, to vent and heal, and to explain her or her story about the current crisis situation. To do this, the crisis worker relies on the familiar active listening skills like paraphrasing, reflecting feelings, and probing. Stage 4. Generate and explore alternatives. This stage can often be the most difficult to accomplish in crisis intervention. Stage 5. Rapidly establish rapport. Rapport is facilitated by the presence of counselor who offers conditions such as genuineness, respect, and acceptance of the client. Stage 6. Identify the major problems of crisis precipitants. Crisis intervention focuses on the client's current problems, which are often the ones that precipitated the crisis. Stage 7. Psychosocial and lethality assessment.
the crisis workers must conduct a swift but thorough biopsychosocial assessment.
Napaka-informative talaga ng mga guests natin today, right partner?
You're right, partner. Ang dami kong natutunan today. Of course, pati na rin ang mga nakikinig sa atin ngayong araw.
So ngayon, tunghayan natin ang isang liham na nagmula sa ating tagapagsubaybay na parang napapanahon at nakaka-relate sa ating usapan ngayong araw na ito. Dear Chano, magandang araw sa inyong lahat at isang karangalan para sa akin na may bahagi ang kwento ng aking buhay sa inyong programa. Nais ko lamang pong ibahagi sa inyo ang masasayang alaala at napait na pinagdaanan ng aking buhay. Nagmula sa pangarap at nagkatotoo naman ang aming pangarap ng aking magiging asawa na kami ay ikakasal sa simbahan. Nung araw na iyon ay puno ng saya at walang kasing tuwa sa aking pakiramdam. Ngunit sa kabilang banda, ito ay napalitan ng lungkot ang aking tuwa dahil makalipas lamang ng ilang araw sa hindi inaasahang pagkakataon, kami ay nasunugan ng aming bahay habang ako'y nasa trabaho. Nung araw na iyon, hindi ko inaasahan ang pangyayari. Yun na din pala ang huling araw ng aming pagkikita ng aking asawa at magiging anak. Nung mga oras na iyon, ay gusto ko na rin tapusin ang aking buhay. Hindi ko lubos naisip ang naging kinahinatnan ng aking pamilya. Puno ng lungkot at dagok ang aking buhay. Yung pangarap naming dalawa para sa aming pamilya, tila ay naglaho lamang ng mga oras na iyon. Mabuti na lang nandyan ang aking kaibigan upang idulog ang aking problema sa opisina ng DSWD. Narito ang aking kwento.
Magandang araw sa iyo.
Magandang araw naman po.
Kumain ka na ba o baka ikaw ay nauuhaw?
Kumain na po ako. Maaari po ba ako makainom ng tubig?
Pagkatapos uminom ng tubig ni Gerson ay patuloy sila sa pag-uusap.
Kamusta ka naman ngayon? Pwede po bang i-rate ang iyong nararamdaman? Sa rate na 1 to 10, ano sa palagay mo ang stage o percent ng iyong nararamdaman?
Maire-rate ko po ito sa siguro po 4%. Ang hirap po kasi na makamove on sa nangyari, ma'am, kasi mag-ina po yung nawala sa akin, kasama na po dun yung aming tahanan.
Based nga doon sa storyang iyong ipinadala, nakakalungkot ngang isipin na nawalan ka ng minahamahal sa buhay. Kaya nga narito ako para tulungan ka. Magkakaroon tayo ng counseling session para matulungan kang matugunan ang iyong mga problema. Maaari mo bang ipagpatuloy ang iyong kwento?
Maraming salamat po, ma'am. Kasi po sa totoo lang, hindi ko na po talaga alam kung ano po ang dapat kong gawin para masolusyonan po ang problemang to. Sa kabila po ng lahat ng nangyari, na depressed na rin po ako eh. Nawalan po ako ng pag-asa sa lahat ng bagay. Ano po ba maaari kong gawin, ma'am? Nawalan na rin po kasi ako ng trabaho buhat nung namatay ang aking mag-ina dahil ilang araw po akong hindi pumasok, kaya tinanggal po ako.
So, ganito ang maaari natin gawin, Gerson. Titingnan natin yung mga resources na available dito sa ating ahensya. Una, siguro ay bibigyan ka namin ng raw materials para makapagpatayo ka ng muli ng iyong pansamantalang tahanan. At bibigyan ka rin namin ng cash assistance para makapagsimula ka sa iyong hanap buhay.
Maraming salamat po, ma'am, sa pag-unawa sa kalagayan na mayroon ako at sa pagtulong po sa akin sa pamamagitan po ng pagbibigay ng assistance. Sobrang nakakatulong po ito para sa akin, ma'am.
Walang anuman, Gerson. Obligasyon talaga namin bilang practitioner na tumulong sa kapwa at higit sa lahat sa mga taong nangangailangan nito.
At doon na nga natapos ang kanilang pag-uusap at pagkalipas ng isang buwan,
Kamusta ka na, Gerson?
Okay na po ako ma'am, kumpara po nung una ko pong punta dito na 1 out of 10 rating po siguro ay nasa 8 na po ako.
Wow, nakakabilib naman. Bakas nga sa mukha mo ang iyong pagbabago.
Maraming salamat po ma'am sa tulong na inyong binahagi sa akin.
At dito nagtatapos ang ating pagsasalaysay ng ating liha. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat na walang sawang pagtangkilik at pagsubaybay sa aming programa. Hanggang sa muli, palagi po nating tatandaan, hangga't may bagong umaga, may bagong pag-asa. Ako si Christian Ramos.
Ako po si Norhaya Pagaduan at ito ang
Bagong Umaga!